Welcome back to Mystical Ninja starring Goemon. We're in the transformed Awato Castle, the first dungeon of the game. Also, a very good grind spot. You can just keep coming back to this room over and over again, and you can just get money from it.
I'm always impressed that you remember the word starring in this game's title. I always just call it Mystical Ninja Goemon.
Well, I mean, you know, he's not necessarily the mystical ninja, but he does get top billing. He's just a mystical ninja otherwise.
Boring as hell ninja Goemon.
Alright, so this of course is very much a Zelda dungeon. We gotta find keys to make progress.
And then we gotta get the item, and then use that item to beat the boss.
Alright, so we do have to use the item for this dungeon, and it is the chain pipe. So I think okay, this is where I start showing off how to actually chain pipe. Yeah, you really need to jump. A later part of this dungeon will actually force you to jump to get to one of these blocks. And initially I thought, oh, that must feel terrible. Why would I want to do that? It feels way better to jump and use the chain pipe. Like, legitimately, it feels so much better to do that, because you actually lock onto a thing you want to lock onto. I think when you're on the ground, maybe they just assumed you might want to attack enemies and not necessarily go to a chain block. Because that's kind of understandable. You might just have it equipped, and you're fighting enemies in an area with one of those blocks in it. You don't just want to automatically go to that. So it's not the worst idea, except the chain pipe is hard to hit enemies with anyway, so you're better off just using the time to switch to your normal pipe anyway.
I mean, obviously it's easier to turn in midair than when you're on the ground. Especially if you haven't already started turning by the time you jump in the air. Just jump straight up in the air and turn around. It's easy.
Yeah, come on. Video game characters do it all the time. Alright, so we got Mr. Elephants. That allows us to see a map of the dungeon.
Ah, yes, obviously.
Alright, so it's not the best map, it doesn't have a lot of details, but it's got enough of the actual layout that you'll actually be able to figure out where you're going. But of course, like in Zelda, we can't just pick up the map in order to find everything. We'll also need another item. So cool thing about this platforming section, it is very much a sort of training wheels platforming section. You won't die in the water, you can swim at the top of it. And if you mess up your jumps, it's really not too bad. In fact, sometimes you might just want to not jump on these turtles. You just need them to be able to get to platforms that don't have stairways on them because you can't jump out of the water. But other than that, yeah, it's pretty easy to get through this room. No big pits, so you can keep practicing your jumps if you need to.
So at this point, the platforming is still fun.
I don't think it ever gets too demanding in this game, as far as I remember. We don't have to do Dark Side of the Moon in the Goemon engine. Oh, sorry, that was Darker Side of the Moon, I believe.
Somebody make that and put that on one of those fucking Kaizo websites.
Also, floor tiles are attacking us. I did tell you this was a Zelda dungeon. Attack a few of them, and you will get another key. Oh god, oh god, oh god. Unlike Zelda dungeons, these floor tiles don't run out, so just get out of here while you can.
I can't believe that whatever the villain's name is has figured out infinite floor technology. When Ganon could never discover that.
Damn Europeans.
Oh, we're fighting IKEA. The boss is gonna be that awful couch.
Oh no. I knew that's where you were going the moment you said IKEA. It's the bisexual couch. It's too early for bisexual couch. That can't exist yet. It would cause a time paradox were we to encounter it here.
Oh, so those big ones blow up and can do damage after you defeat them.
No, they just have a fancier animation.
Oh. You just got hit by a bullet at the exact same time.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, to be fair, we have a lot of enemies now, so it's a good thing they drop health items because, man, it's actually pretty easy to get hit. Again, pretty difficult to die in this game, but very easy to get hits. This is one of those games where I don't care about getting a no-hit run because getting hit really doesn't... It's not a big deal, it's just a short little animation, and besides, why would Goemon not get hits? Seems like an un-Goemon thing to do, to not get owned.
Thinking about it, it's not great if you're a so-called legendary thief, but the only, story about you that people can agree on is how you got caught and executed.
Everyone can agree you were a thief, and you have a legend about you, just probably not the one you'd like.
Definitely got executed in a very horrible way. But, we can't agree on if you're even a good thief. Because, again, you're most famous for getting caught.
Alright, so, we've gone up a floor in this dungeon, which I think is a good time to mention the really cool thing about Mystical Ninja starring Goemon that you might not notice in this first dungeon. I don't think it's as pronounced here. This game actually has dynamic dungeon music. The farther you get in a dungeon, the more instruments will be added. Again, Awato Castle's theme is a little hard to pick up on with it. I think its instruments are a little more subtle, but if you listen to version 1 next to version 3, you'll definitely be able to pick out the difference. But that is just really cool. Dynamic music is always fun in general. Also, yeah, I screwed up this jump a whole bunch because the camera angle. But yeah, dynamic music is always cool when it can get implemented, and it's just a really good idea for, hey, you're making dungeon progress, you get a more, I want to say energetic version of the song. Adding more instruments doesn't necessarily make it energetic, but, that's the word I go for.
More interesting version of the song.
There's definitely one song later on in the game that I really like that definitely sounds a lot cooler once you get to its final version. It also sounds vaguely like the Powerpuff Girls theme. It has that kind of instrumentation in it that I can't describe because I do not know music, but it's got that there. Here's a giant hand. But yeah, I've not heard that instrumentation in anything else other than Powerpuff Girls, so that's all I have to draw on. So yeah, giant hand there is actually blocking the way to another fortune doll, which unfortunately we won't be able to get to until after we finish the dungeon. So unfortunately we can't quite get a full heart on our first run through here. Unless, of course, you didn't get all 4 that you could get before the dungeon, but, I did, so. I've got everything I could up until this point. Oh, and there's no block over there because there's no block needed over there. You can just climb up.
Anyways, back to dynamic music. I think one of the more extensive... Actually, looks like you have something to say.
Yeah, Mr. Arrow is basically the compass of this game, in that it will actually point out where the boss is. This game's not really big on treasures, though, so while it will reveal other bits of the map, as well as the boss, there's no treasure chests to really find. It's pretty much just the fortune dolls. Oh god, ninjas!
Ah.
Oh no, the real mystical ninjas! They were here all along, they were our enemies!
This ain't mystical ninjas, it's ninja! It's just me! And my friend whose name I can't remember.
Visamaru. It's alright, we haven't seen him at all this episode. So yeah, you can deflect the shurikens these guys throw, but otherwise they're definitely the hardest enemies in the dungeon, because they come out of nowhere and they just start swinging. They will not stop until you kill them.
Anyways, them fighting hurts has dynamic music, that's all I was trying to say. Every character has their own instrumentation and, like, musical signatures that they use, and if you take them to a stage, the stage has a special version for that character.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, they've stopped doing that for every stage. Now it's only for each, like, character's home stage.
I guess that makes sense, yeah.
There are stages that have a lot more static music, and the reason they gave for this was, oh, for the love of God, just let us let us go easy on some of this.
Yeah, like, there are cool details, but sometimes it just kind of gets in the way of actually producing the game.
You can't build a game on gimmicks alone. Cool little details will not make an entire game, no matter what Kojima tells you.
Alright, so up we go to the third floor, and hey! How's it going? Well, who in the world are you? Highlighted.
Straight out of Copywriter Guy. Well, this is a video game. You can't have a video game without stages.
Goemon, let's murder this man.
Holy shit, have you seen about it?
Also, yes, now we have called them, weird... He spun out of there. We have called this man a weirdo, so that is pretty much what the heroes are going to be referring to the villains as for the entire game, just the weirdos. That's it, it's them.
Also, why does Baron have a laugh track?
This game has laugh tracks in general, and he did a goofy thing. So funny is his existence. So anyway, you might have noticed, parts of Congo throughout this dungeon. As we've been climbing the castle, we've been seeing his body, and now we've got to fight his head, and I'm gonna be honest, I know he's the first boss, so he's supposed to be easy, but I don't think this is right. You don't have to jump to hit the spot on his chin, but if you're right next to his chin and not jumping, the fire he shoots won't hurt you, so jump over the lasers when he takes enough damage to start flashing like that, and eventually he'll finish his attack, and you can just go back to wailing on him. I kind of wish this boss worked on rule of threes, because, like, this is not a difficult boss, and it's not so much that I'm having difficulty here, it's just, this kinda goes on for a while, and it's just the same thing throughout. There's no new gimmicks, it's just this.
And, like, one of the attacks doesn't even seem to work.
Yeah, just... you would have to be trying to make this attack a threat at all. Like, if you did have to jump to hit that weak spot on his chin, then yeah, that would be something you had to dodge, but no, you can just hang out near him. Well, I guess to be fair, it must be pretty difficult just only fighting as a head. Like, he's got a whole body down there. We've seen it. Part of it was blocking the dungeon.
I was gonna say, what the hell kind of Nintendo game is this? He needs two hands.
He has two hands, they're just not available to him. They're down there, they locked him away.
Okay, if you did that today, that would be funny. Because people have noticed the whole, like, face and hands motif that Nintendo bosses have going on. So it's just like, we lock the hands up to make the boss fight easier. Boss is just like, hey, you can't do that, that's like 2/3 of my things.
Come on, I need my things. How come the Forgotten One gets a whole battle where you just fight his big maggot-filled body, and I get this? Oh man, Castlevania gets all the good stuff.
The Goemon anime sucks. Nobody watches it, it's not on Netflix.
Your anime sucks, Goemon. You may have killed me, but you know what? I get moral victory. Your anime was bad. Fuck you.
For the record, I don't know if there ever was a Mystical Ninja anime. There is a Castlevania show.
There was, and I... there was, and I don't know how good it is. I do kind of want to watch it at some point.
So, the life of Goemon, this is another thing I know, became like one of the most popular and enduring Kabuki plays. So I'm assuming that's why Goemon's face looks like this, but I don't like the way that his face looks. Like, I know, it's Kabuki. He also just looks really pissed off.
He does look pissed off all the time.
And he's supposed to be kind of a cute character, I think.
Well, I mean, I feel like Abizumaru would argue that he's the cute one, but, you know, as the starring role, Goemon, he is very intense for a main character. Alright, we got the Super Pass, meaning we can leave town. So, I'm not going to save just yet, because this isn't quite the end of the episode. You get automatically taken out of the dungeon, which is cool, but I do need to go back in, because now that Congo is dead, I do need to go pick up that fortune doll. But like I said, you can just grind Rio there. It respawned already. Alright, so this is where the hand was before. Now I've got that enemy. Oh, I was gonna say that's all there is standing in our way, but no, there's a ninja. I was a fool to think we were safe. And now we've got a whole lot of money. Just scattered around the floor. I don't know if that's a symbol or not. Maybe that was, real laid out in, katakana, but I picked it up too quickly to really notice, and I wouldn't have known anyway, because I don't know any Japanese characters off the top of my head. I know what they look like, you know, in general. Could not name an actual... I can't even name Fire Blast, and they just put that one in Pokemon games. It's just there. So anyway, now that we've gotten that fortune doll and one more heart to our name, and also we're done grinding Rio, don't need any more from the front entrance even though it respawned again, we're done with that dungeon. So, next time on Mystical Ninja starring Goemon, we'll move on from the town.